Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining to be here today, especially knowing that everyone has a busy schedule and everything. So today's conversation is very special, not just because we are talking about quantum science, but because we are talking about young people who are actively shaping its future. Now, quantum often sounds a little bit distant or complex. It feels like something that's happening elsewhere. But today, we are here to show that it is happening here. It is happening with Africans, especially Ghanaians, and by young people. So this session is meant to be interactive, it's meant to be honest, inspiring. So I encourage you all to listen closely. You can take notes and imagine yourself in this story. Have you always loved mathematics? Because I'm sure so many people joining us today are wondering, maybe they are thinking, okay, you must eat maths, drink maths, breathe maths to actually be interested in quantum. So tell us, is this something like your mom actually had in her DNA and then she passed it to you?
Mathematics, well, when I was a child, I was rather interested in the health sector. I actually wanted to be a midwifery, but um, I read mathematics because it was something that people assume to be um, a no-go area, right? But then for me, I always want to do something that challenges me. So I was like, well, why don't I venture into mathematics and see what people are saying that they are saying mathematics is that. So mine was curiosity. I just went into it and I have never regretted, honestly. Yeah, I have never regretted.
Okay, so from wanted to go into midwifery and then finding your way here. So, Prince,
Yes.
what about you? I'm curious, is this something, is it going to be the cliche story? Okay, when I was 3 years old, I started vomiting equations.
So thanks so much, Elizabeth, for inviting me first. I'll say that for me, it was more of engineering.
Okay.
I personally wanted to do engineering, just that I failed the exam. So there
Okay.
was a context that we had to take before entering mechanical engineering. That's what I wanted to do. I was quite good at maths, but I wanted to do engineering. I
Okay.
failed. Then the second choice after mechanical engineering was computer engineering.
Okay.
I also failed. Mechanical is not working, computer is not working.
Mm,
Then I think the next thing for me was to do math.
okay.
But I did math with the hope that it will allow me to do whatever I want to do later.
Mm,
Because I saw math as like usually how people see it, like a
mm,
language that connects all the sciences. And that's what something that I was enjoying. I was using math as a superpower that I had like to be able to do other things. So since the things that I wanted to do were not working for me, then
mhm,
I decided to do math to give myself maybe more knowledge to be
mm.
able to do more things when I will have more knowledge. So that's how I got into maths at university level. If not, maybe high school, I was quite, yeah, good average like
Okay.
that.
That's very interesting. And I love the fact that you talked about, okay, you failing two major fields, right? In the aspect of the quantitative field, right? But I actually have a follow-up question for that. You see, a lot of people actually assume because we have some people joining us today who are not from a pure maths background. Some people are from so many fields who are like tuning in today. But then to them or to some of us, mathematics is like the god of all hard subjects. So how come you feel computer science and engineering, but then somehow there's a way for you to do mathematics? It sounds like, okay, is it because everyone runs away from mathematics? That's why the field accepts, okay, even if you show some form of discipline or some level of interest, they just accept you in, even though computer science and engineering is basically mathematics. That's what people don't know. So can you say something about that?
Yeah, so as I was saying, you see, for me, I think one of the reasons why I actually loved maths is that anything that I want to do, I want to go deep inside.
Mm,
I really want to understand, even computer engineering or mechanical engineering or whatever other science field. I always want to go deep in it. And I find myself every time I'm trying to do that, encountering maths on the way. So it's just like something that helps you to understand. So when you take it that way, you don't really see it as something that is difficult per se. I don't know if you get me, but I mean, in this world, everything is difficult.
true.
Almost everything is difficult. No matter what you take, there is going to be some difficulty somewhere.
Mm,
But it's all about how you see what you want to do and how you take it, how you put in the effort, the time to enjoy what you like, enjoy the ride, basically. It's going to be difficult, definitely, but if you are passionate about what you are doing, if you know that I'm learning this
mhm,
because I want to understand this, right? I'm learning this because I want to understand it. And this is something that has motivated me every time. Whatever I'm learning in math, I always ask myself, how am I, or why am I learning this, or what is the end goal?
yeah.
Usually, you may not be able to answer that from yourself, but
Mhm,
you just have to go into history to see what people have done with that. And you are amazed. You are like, wow. So with this concept, they're able to do this. And for me, it just excites me. It helps me to keep going, even if it's difficult. I see the end goal. I see what people are able to do with it. I understand that it can be difficult, but if people are able to do it, I also want to do that exactly what they did. So I just have to be like them and learn, and enjoy it.
Um, so right now, the main reason why we're having this session is because of quantum science, right? I have a main question, but before that, I want to know, I do know a little bit about your background, that you went to Ames Ghana, had your master's from Ames Ghana, and now you actually have some interest in quantum. But before that, what was your major like for bachelor's? Because maybe someone might be wondering that maybe the whole journey was just mathematics major up until this time. So I am curious to know, what was your major in school?
So way back in university, I
Mm-hmm.
read just mathematics, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, yes. So for KNUST, we don't do it as maybe you do a major or a minor, but then you
Okay.
just do one course, so mathematics. So for me, before I got to the university, that was when I wanted to be a midwife, but immediately I entered, it changed, right? So mine was all about being curious to do like hard things. Yeah. So my career goal was to venture into data science, data analytics, but then I realized mathematics is the basics I need for anything else, maybe machine learning, other things, because if I don't really find myself in the mathematics area, the foundation, I don't think I'll be able to put it in what I want to do. So doing mathematics was basically I was enjoying it, even though I had challenges, I had issues. Sometimes I just cry because some of the things I'm learning is too difficult and I don't know what to do. Sometimes you speak to other people and still like what you want to know, you're not getting it right.
Mm.
So sometimes you just have to relax, be patient, and just know that this is what you signed up for. You wanted to know what is inside. So you need to continue, right? You need to just continue and do. So mathematics was what I did in school, and it has really helped me with the foundation, the basics. Yeah.
Actually, I do share in that because I mean I also come from a maths background, and one of the main reasons why I got into it was because my senior high school teacher told me that it's a hot cake. I can go into any field I want if I do mathematics. That's
I know, right?
why I decided to do because at that time I had no idea of what to do. I'm like, okay, at least if I don't know what the future holds, if I do maths, I can be anything I want. Yeah. So I now want to move on to the major question that I had for you. I do know that Team Qualaria is actually made up of a team. Like it's not just you and and Prince. Yeah, and I wanted you to tell us a little bit more um about the team. So I have this image that I want to share. Okay, so a moment, just so everyone can meet the team officially. So, can you tell me a little bit about Team Qualaria?
Mhm.
So, there's Prince, there's you, Augustina. Who is Team Qualaria, and what kind of people actually made up the team?
So, talking about the Qualaria team, basically, Qualaria actually itself is an initiative that was built by 5 members and 3 mentors. But in the picture there, I can see 5 members, but then one mentor wasn't around at that
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So we have myself, Dorcas, Prince, Abibou, then Melvin, the 5 members. And the mentors, we have Venice.
Mm-hmm.
We have Tadana and Chantal, but Chantal wasn't there at that time.
Okay.
So yeah, we built Qualaria during the hackathon that happened here in Ghana in July this year.
Mm-hmm.
So we come from different backgrounds actually,
Interesting.
and the goal of Qualaria or our focus is to reduce death, right, caused by malaria, because we all know that malaria is one of the biggest challenges Africa is facing here. So we wanted to dive deep into malaria and see if we can contribute, we can do something using quantum innovation. So basically, we reduce death by accelerating the potential ligands for the dominant strains of malaria. So basically, that was the whole Qualaria team in our focus.
Okay, amazing. So my next question is to Prince. So Prince, right now, Augustina just told us that okay, the team is made up of people from different um backgrounds, and you all came together to develop a solution, right, using quantum. Now, Prince, in your own words, for someone like me, right, who has absolutely no idea about what quantum is or even quantum science, the only quantum I know is from Avengers. Yes. So, what is quantum science in your own words?
Yeah, thanks. I think this is a genuine question. And simply, for me, like the way I take it personally to understand myself is that quantum is our way as humans to understand or study things at a very tiny scale,
Okay.
because that's our journey as humans. This curiosity that we have as humans to study nature is what has, how to say it, where we are now as humanity is because
Hmm.
of our curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Because we always want to understand what is around us.
Hmm.
And we were able to understand many things. And through those things, we're able to invent things, invent planes, invent rockets, invent drugs, and that curiosity is still driving us forward. So quantum is basically our way to understand the things that we have at very small scale. Because when science was growing, we were discovering things. We discovered electrons, we discovered protons, and all those things. But we noticed that they were not behaving the way usual things that we know. Classically, we say classically, the usual things that we know were behaving. They had some funny behaviors that we are not understanding. That's where the quantum field came up from. So how do we understand that, and how do we use that knowledge to benefit humanity? Basically, that's quantum science.
So I have an extra question to that. So you made mention of the fact that okay, quantum science is basically studying tiny particles. So still, with someone who really has no background in this, when you say you're studying tiny particles, is it magic? Are you using like maybe some microscopic equipment? What exactly are you looking at? Because when you spoke about quantum science being about studying tiny particles, in my mind, I was like, okay, atom. I remembered JHS, or was it class six? What is an atom? Is that what you guys are doing? Are you looking into tiny things, maybe tiny insects, or what exactly, how do you look at these tiny things? Is there an equipment to actually look at these tiny things?
Amazing. So yes, there are equipments
Okay.
scientists use to look at those tiny particles. Just that that's not the only goal of quantum science.
Hmm.
The goal is not just to look at them. I think people have been looking at them, but we are interested in the way those particles actually behave,
Okay.
right? And when we say tiny particles, anything that is the scale of atoms, protons, those kind of particles, and there are many other particles at that scale, things that usually you don't see with your eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So when we are able to actually, I would say, look at them, we notice that the way they behave is a little bit different. For example, a particle behaves like a normal particle,
Mm-hmm.
and it behaves like a wave, for example. That's like a wave, exactly like when you drop something in water, the way the wave propagates.
Mm.
Particle behaves like that, but usually, classically, that's not something we see. That's not something we see. Another behavior will be what we call entanglement. Entanglement means two particles just behaves like they are communicating with each other, no
Mm-hmm.
matter the distance that is between them. So a particle is here, another particle is at maybe, I don't know, some many kilometers away.
Okay.
But when you do something to this particle here, that particle automatically reacts over there. I'm simplifying the thing for everyone to understand, but that's the idea behind the entanglement. So this is also something that we are not used to classically. How can two things uh, communicate just like that, no matter the distance that is between them? So those are the behaviors that we to study. We try to understand them first. That's the main thing. We first try to understand them. That's the quantum mechanics, how like the mechanics between those particles. Then the second thing is, after understanding them, how do we use that knowledge to do something good? You see, we
Okay.
all know that when we take drugs, for example, we deal with molecules, and exactly in those molecules, we have all those things we are talking about, atoms and all those things. So if you are able with this quantum science to understand atoms and molecules more, that means you have more understanding about how we can easily produce drugs. We can have more understanding on how maybe our cells, what happens in our cells, in our body. And we know that today there are many diseases that we don't know how to cure. And those understanding that we have with the study of those particles at very small scale can also help us understand how we can produce drugs for those diseases that we really don't understand yet. Because all those things that we are talking about, to all those diseases, viruses, those things too are that same scale, right? Basically, yeah.
Okay. So meaning that with if we actually do invest in quantum and humanity actually learns more about quantum, it's possible that with quantum we can, from what you just said, we can develop so many cures for diseases like cancer. I mean, all those kind of diseases that we have that are not treatable. So meaning quantum can, to a large scale, quantum can do that, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It will really help.
Okay. Okay. Very, very interesting. So I've been hearing this a lot that, I mean, for you and Augustina, you guys did something in relation to drugs, right? But is it only limited to the health sector? Is quantum only limited to the health sector? Is there any other field? Maybe say I work in a, maybe in climate, or I work as an accountant or something. Do I have any business knowing about quantum? So Augustina or Prince, any of you can answer that.
So it's not only related to or limited to health sector, but then I think finance, agriculture, and other fields to quantum apply. So let's take, for example, agriculture. So sometimes we have these fertilizers that we use, but
Mm-hmm.
then we have nitrogen plant, which helps plants to grow. But then artificially, we have developed a system that use nitrogen in the air, right? To pretend like it's the enzyme in the soil. We have some enzyme in the soil called the nitrogenase, something like that. So that enzymes take nitrogen from the air
Mm-hmm.
and use it as ingredients to help the plant grow. But then this artificial thing we've developed using classical computers to develop, sometimes it's difficult for them to simulate this transition of nitrogen from the air into the artificial thing they've done, right? Sometimes it becomes complex. So if it becomes complex, that means they won't be able to generate the artificial enzyme they need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here comes quantum. So if we use quantum, we can be able to use, let's say, VQE, variational quantum eigensolver, to tackle the aspect that the classical computer can't simulate, right? So if we push quantum at that area, particular area that the classical computer is lacking, we'll be able to overcome what we want to do. So that means we'll be able to create the artificial enzyme that will help plants grow very fast. So agriculture, finance, and a lot of sectors that
Wow.
quantum can be applied to. Yeah.
Wow, that's very impressive. Like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm now thinking maybe I should jump into quantum. I should stop what I'm doing and then come and join you guys. Because it sounds very interesting. Because I, I believe just like AI, quantum also has its own superpower. It sounds like that. Okay, so now there's something interesting that I really want to talk about. I want us to try and dive deep and then get into the hackathon and how this team came about and everything about the award. Okay. So now I do know that Ames Ghana, okay, it seems Ames Ghana has a talent for um producing amazing people who are ambitious and want to do so many things, right? Now, I want you guys to tell us, take us through your journey at Ames Ghana, because is it this are they sharing something different? Is it the food you guys are eating or you ate from Ames? Like what exactly is it? Because sincerely speaking, in the maths area, like the amazing people I've actually met all passed through Ames. So what exactly is going on?
So, well, it's a good question. So, Ames Ghana to me was one of the most intense and transformative periods in my life, right? So, Ames Ghana, as the name sounds nicely, if you do not have an aim, you can't go there, right? So AIMS Ghana is a place that forces you to learn and grow. They will force you to learn and you will grow by force. So upon my arrival, I think after the first week in AIMS Ghana, I began realizing how the pressure and everything was coming to me. So, but then the structure of AIMS Ghana is such that after every 3 weeks, you have the chance to learn and talk to different lecturers, professors, doctors from across Ghana, right? Some are from Africa, some are from the UK and other places. So what they do is they will bring them to teach us after every 3 weeks, then they will rotate, like they will change, right? So when they come, whichever problem that you are facing in that particular course, you can reach out to them. Or even if it's not in that course, the problem is not related to that course, you can freely talk to them. And one funny thing is, for there, you do not call someone by a professor or a doctor. You just call the person by his or her first name. So let's say if I'm a professor and I'm teaching at AIMS Ghana, you just call me Augustina. You don't need to call me Professor Augustina because they want the children to have that kind of relationship with the lecturers, right? So they are scared of the lecturers, then I don't think that they'll be able to tell the lecturers their problems and what they are facing. So this is how the structure is. And the courses we do there, the courses are very interesting and they are good because they take courses from finance, quantum, data science, pure maths, and what have you. So the courses, they are a lot. So you will have to choose the one that interests you or the one that excites you. And so, yes, and also they run this program called MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program where I was part. So with this program, you need to give back to your community or your society. So me being part, what we did was we reached out to senior high schools, junior high schools, and some way, somehow we taught them some basics what mathematics is, like encouraging them that, oh, mathematics is not difficult, you can do it, and what have you. And so, yes, my journey at AIMS Ghana was really intense. And honestly, it was the first place I saw or met quantum science and technology. I didn't see it anywhere. I didn't dream of it. I met it there. That is where I encountered quantum science for the first time. And well, I have never regretted. And AIMS Ghana has really taught me to be a contributor. AIMS Ghana was a place I learned how to speak up. I wasn't that type, right? So AIMS Ghana has taught me a lot, a lot. And I'll honestly recommend to whoever wanting to do STEM related courses, it's actually a good place to be if you really want to learn, honestly. And if I went, I think I might come back again.
I mean, amazing. Before I jump to Prince, to our viewers, if you have any questions, you can send them to the comment section, or you can wait when we are done, then you ask the our speakers directly. Okay, so Prince, just briefly tell us your journey. How has it been for you at Ames?
Interesting. I'll say the first time I heard what AIMS was during my undergraduate. I saw
Oh.
the flyer posted on some boards, and the first thing that caught my attention was they were talking about next Einstein. At that time, I was really a big fan of Einstein, and if there should be anything concerning Einstein in Africa, I wanted to be part. Just that they were asking for a 1 year you should have done 1 year as a master student before. And at that time, I was an undergrad, so I didn't have the chance to apply. Then some few years later, I saw another post where they were welcoming undergrads. So I applied. Fortunately, I was selected, and it was really, really interesting. But I used to saying that I personally didn't join AIMS because of the master's degree.
Okay.
I joined AIMS because I wanted I wanted to meet young people who were also passionate about science. That has been my like what was driving me since the beginning. So when I was coming, I was really excited because I was working really. I got another job like 2 months after starting that job. Then I got Ames email that I was selected. Then there was a dilemma. Should I leave the job? Finding job in this part of the world is not easy. Should I leave this hard-end job to go and school again? I decided to leave anyway, and I didn't regret it. I really enjoyed my journey at Ames, meeting new people from all over Africa who are also interested in science and how they can use science to develop their community. And that's something that apart from we having the opportunity to meet lecturers from all over the world, I think that part too was something that stood out to me. And I'll say that I really enjoyed that. And I also enjoyed the other opportunities that Ames gave me. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so now we all know a little bit about you, more about you, and what actually made you guys who you are. Okay, so let's dive deep now. So from bachelor's to Ames, then after Ames, right? Here comes the Ames Quantaton, right? So I want you guys to tell me how did you guys get into this? Is this something that happens yearly? Is it new? Because to be sincere, this is the very first time that I am hearing about it, and I'm wondering how did you guys come about this event? And for you, what was the biggest challenges that you faced as a team? So, who wants to go first, Prince or Augustina?
Do I
I
go
can start.
first? Okay.
Okay, yeah, okay. I can start.
Okay.
So the Quantum Hackathon, that's we attended or we participated in Accra in July, was the first of its kind in Africa. That was the first hackathon, especially in quantum science
Mm.
in Africa. And AIMS was the organization that actually made that possible. Of course, with partnerships with some other organizations. But AIMS was the main organization that was at the heart of it. So, does it happen every year? That's our hope that it will
Okay.
happen in the coming year so that many other young scientists also get the opportunity to participate in such an amazing competition because it helps you to actually see, like very concretely, what you can do with quantum science. Because for most of us, we've been studying it for some time, but we haven't had the opportunity to actually apply it, right? We did all the basics, the theoretical things, quantum mechanics, quantum computing, all the quantum hardware, all the other things, but how do you really apply it to something that is meaningful?
Mm.
A problem, how do you use it to solve a real problem, real world problem? So that was the opportunity that this Quantathon gave us. Maybe the challenges I will leave Augustina touch on that. Yeah.
Okay, so talking about challenges, even though it was exciting to join the Quantatom, but then one of the biggest challenges we faced was putting our ideas into a quantum-inspired solution, right? Because when we joined at first, we're tasked to select any problem that we want to work on. But then the first time we joined, we met as a team. We were brainstorming about what particular problem we can put on board. We were brainstorming. We kept very long. And fortunately for us, one of our mentors, she was like, why don't we focus on malaria? Because malaria is one of the problems that we are facing here in Africa. So we're like, okay, so malaria, what exactly do we want to work on malaria? So malaria is broad, and which particular area of malaria do we want to do? Is it that we want to develop our own drug, we want to do that, or we want to do that? So we were brainstorming. So that was one of the biggest challenges we had. We were just brainstorming, trying to put the idea we had into a quantum-inspired solution. And also, another problem or another challenge we faced was, I think, communication. So we come from different backgrounds, right? And sometimes we come up with a certain idea, and someone understands the idea better. The other person is not able to understand because of our backgrounds. And so instead of that thing being a barrier between us, we rather taught ourselves, right? So if is this particular thing that I do not understand, if Prince understands, he teaches me. If I understand and he doesn't understand, I just tell him what it is. And so with collaboration, with teamwork, and I think mindset, we're able to overcome any challenge that we faced.
This is really encouraging because, personally, one of my biggest fears is like, I mean, trying to get someone to understand my point of view, right? And then you find yourself in a building where you are in the midst of people who are from different backgrounds than you are. But then it's amazing how you guys were able to maneuver around that because it feels like a cocktail. Okay, I'm from pure maths, you are from engineering, you are from physics. How do we go about this? And I like the fact that as a team, you guys came together to teach each other and then like pull each other together. So that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, I know that from this hackathon, you guys won two major awards, right? The top award and the sustainability award. Now, why exactly, what was this sustainability award for? Why did you guys win that? So,
Well, they have their the reason why we won that sustainability awards, but I think they check the SDGs, right? We have SDGs, what we want to solve in the next years to come. So they will focus on the SDGs. It's your problem and the solution aligning with the SDGs that you have selected as part of your solution. Is the problem able to solve that particular SDG problem, the SDG goals? So our SDGs were SDG 3, 7, and no, SDG 3, 9, and 17. So our own aligned perfectly with our problem, because when you take malaria is able to eradicate, it's part of the good health and well-being. It's about innovation, industry, and infrastructure, then partnership for the goals. So I think they have their own way of giving the awards. So yeah.
okay, so not basically about maybe, I mean, why you won the awards. I agree with you that they have their own criteria, but what was the sustainability part of your work? Why 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 is that even a category? So what's the motivation for yeah, that's
Okay, so yeah, as I said earlier, so the problem we are solving has to be something that the SDG is talking about, or the SDG goals has, right? So we have so many SDG goals, right? So we're taking malaria SDG 3, we have good health and well-being. So malaria is a problem Africa is facing. And in order to have good health and well-being, when we solve malaria problem, it's going to improve, it's going to eradicate or reduce death cases in Africa, right? So it's contributing to good health and well-being. Also, industry, innovation and infrastructure. So our problem that we are solving, what is it contributing to infrastructure or innovation? So we bring in quantum insight, falls into the industry, infrastructure, and the innovation SDG. So we are bringing ideas in order to use quantum innovation or quantum computers to be able to help us identify potential ligands, so we'll be able to produce or identify so many ligands all at once very quickly. And so that is what the industry innovation and infrastructure comes in. Then partnership for the goals. We can't do this alone. We need help from businesses, some startups, some institution, research companies, and all that. We can't do this alone. And so we adding partnership for the goals is something that really stood out because we can't do it alone, honestly. We can't do it alone. So basically, that is why we added. And I think our SDG goals were, it aligned perfectly with our problem and the solution. I don't know if Prince can add something to it.
Yes, so yeah, Augustina summarized it very well. So on the solution itself, I'll say that one of the major problems with malaria will be, first of all, I guess most of us here are Africans and we know about malaria. And some people may say, okay, but why are we talking about malaria? Don't we have drugs and all those things? But one thing we don't know is that the parasite actually mutates every time. It changes its own DNA or its own configuration every time. That's why sometimes some drugs don't work anymore. That's the problem. So when a drug is no more working, how fast do we get a new drug to be able to fight the new variant of the parasite that is there? So our algorithm is designed in a way that it can be reused every time, no matter how the parasite actually mutates. So it's something that we've done once that we can reuse every time to quickly find new potential drugs that we can to fight the disease. So I believe that's one of the major parts that they also considered in attributing us that sustainability awards.
Okay, so quickly, this is to Prince, right? You just spoke a little bit about your model, right? And I got this from I did a little bit of research on you guys. My team did a little bit of research on you guys, and so we know that you guys from your model, you wanted to accelerate the malaria drug, right? So in your model, does it have anything to do with, are you guys going to be in the lab mixing chemicals? You're mixing you're mixing this antibiotics. Like what exactly did you guys do, or what process? Like, are you using computers? Were you giving injections to people to find out just tell us, how were you guys able to even propose that, okay, we can accelerate the malaria drug discovery process?
In the drug discovery process, there are many stages or many steps.
Okay.
The work that we did was to tackle or to target or to focus on the very first step, which is identifying potential molecules that can even work as drugs. Because how does the thing work? You have a parasite. You see, you know the parasite, you've studied the parasite a little bit, the chemistry and everything. So you have an idea of which molecule can react or can destroy that particular parasite that you've identified or that you would like to work on. So the very first step is to come up with possible molecules, different configurations of molecules that can actually work as drug for that particular parasite. Then, among all those molecules that you've created or generated, you go to another stage, or you identify the ones that you can't use everything, right? Because you have some constraints, the infrastructure, the time. You can't say, okay, I don't know, 10,000 molecules. I'm going to check all those 10,000 molecules to see which one would work. So you have to apply some algorithms to actually screen, to choose the ones that you know, okay, this one can work, this one won't work. That's what we targeted. And in that configuration, you don't do any lab tests and anything. When you've already identified some molecules that you know, okay, among all these molecules that I've generated, these ones are the ones that I know for sure I can focus on. Then you move to the other stages where you actually go into the lab to even create it, because all this while you are working with maths, you are working with chemistry, you haven't created anything yet. You move to the next stage, which is you're going to create the molecule now in the lab. Then you test it. Then you test the reaction with the parasite and everything. So our work was focusing on the very first step, which is generating ligands. And that part, we use a deep learning algorithm to generate ligands based on the protein, the parasite. Then after generating those ligands, we now use the quantum algorithm that Augustina spoke about, which is called VQE, to actually screen those all those molecules that we've already generated. Then based on that screening, the results, we know the ones that we can pick. So that's where our work targeted. That's what our work targeted.
Okay, amazing. So, meaning that if I want to get into quantum, right, all I need is just a laptop. For the basics, all I need is a laptop, right?
Okay, what you need is an understanding of quantum mechanics.
Oh,
Yes, I won't
oh,
say a laptop because the thing is that, and for that, you don't even need a laptop. You
okay.
don't even need a laptop. You need, you don't need like a really huge and expert level knowledge, but it's just like you understand algebra or you understand basic electricity. That's how you should see it. You shouldn't see it as something that is no, but just understand the basics of quantum mechanics, how things work. At the surface level, then you are good to go because there are so many things. There are so many things in the quantum science. You have quantum sensing that we haven't spoke about. You have quantum computing that we were working in. You have quantum information, which is kind of the theoretical part for quantum computing. So in quantum computing, that's when you say that, okay, you would need a laptop because right? You're going to do computing. You definitely at some point need a laptop. So you just need the basic understanding. Then now you see the fields or the side of the field that you like more, you focus or you specialize in it.
So, Augustina, this question is to you, right? Now, I know after you guys won the top award and the sustainability award, you guys came to Geneva. What's the connection, Augustina? What's the connection between the award you guys got in Ghana and then coming to Geneva, coming to Europe to like basically coming to the global stage now? So what's the link?
I think winning the awards, it was part of the awards to travel all the way from Ghana to Geneva. So I think they wanted us to have a feel of how quantum innovation is. They wanted us to know how we can, as young Africans like us, how we can put our ideas together and do something, right? So me being at the Jester Summit or SEN, I think it really taught me that people come from different places just to work on one particular idea, and that particular idea is what can change the world or Africa as a whole. So me being there, I really learned a lot of things. I really learned how you are able to transform your idea. The challenge we faced back at the hackathon, how you are able to transform your idea into a quantum-inspired solution. And also, we attended so many sessions during the Just That Summit, and I think some of them was the Frontiers of Mathematics by, I think, Professor Kim. For him, he emphasized that the universe itself is a mathematical structure. And so if you understand the basis of mathematics, you'll be able to understand quantum, right? Also, I think we had sessions on science, the language and communication by, I think, Professor Jennifer also. So for her, she was telling us that science as a whole is not a course. It's not only a course, but it's like a communication between someone and a problem, right? So if you are able to communicate well with the problem you're having and your idea, you'll be able to have an impact into the community or the society, right? And also, I think the other session that we went to was Quantum Beyond 2025. So they were just conversing about what's next after this year. And I think they came into a consensus that they have to organize more seminars, conferences, hackathons in order to publicize AI and other technologies so that people will be able to bring their ideas. A lot of people have ideas, but how to put their ideas into useful technologies is a problem. So they are going to publicize AI, quantum, and help people use their ideas well. Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap up, that's amazing. But to wrap up, I have two questions, one for you and one for Prince. And I'm going to start with you since we are talking. So there are so many young Africans, right? Especially those of us with some maths background, so many of us from Ghana, who are curious about this field, deep tech field. How do we start? Where do they start from? If you wanted to like talk to them, and what would you say to them if they want to start and like find themselves in this field?
So anybody interested in deep tech, I would say that you just have to start small. You start bit by bit, and you don't have to be intimidated by what you want to do, right? So let's say if it's quantum that you want to venture into, even though it's not easy, but then you are not supposed to be intimidated by what people are saying, right? So you just have to focus, pick a particular field that best interests you. It can be AI, it can be quantum, it can be biotechnology, like any area, any aspect. You just pick that, you read more about it. You read more about it and you just go by curiosity. Like, just open your mind and just move and read more about it. And also, I think there are a lot of opportunities for people wanting to venture into fields like quantum. We have summer schools, we have so many initiatives that share quantum stuff. They share quantum materials, they share quantum research papers and all that. So if it is something that you want to do, just start small and don't look at what people are saying. Just put it in your mind that this is what you want to do. So I would just focus on it, read more about it, and you just move from there. So you will face challenges, but the challenges that you are facing, you should know that there are so many opportunities there. So if you don't face a challenge, you're not going to know what is inside the world. So you face big challenges, you know that there are big opportunities there for you to explore. And so just start small, with curiosity and just grow with consistency. And I think we will all be fine.
Amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Augustina. So now, Prince, what are your hopes? So this is the last question to you, and then we would ask the viewers if they have any questions for you personally. So what are your hopes for the future of quantum research in Africa, especially for young people?
I have high hopes. I mean, for me, I would say the reason why I decided to do quantum was, first of all, curiosity, but like I wanted to understand more of the field. I was interested in maths, I was interested in physics, I was interested in computer science, and I saw a field that was promising uh, to me that I could use all those skills at once. Then I said, okay, I'm going to venture in this and see, because I knew it is going to be interesting to me. It was definitely going to be interesting to me. That's how I got into the field. But past that, now you have to think about exactly where you are going to, right? Where you are going to. For me, the opportunity right now sorry, the hopes right now is about seeing young Africans or young talents from Africa who are also in the field and are doing great things. Because one thing I think most of us complain about is that most of the innovation in the world right now is from Europe, the US, and Asia, right? You don't see Africans in any of those fields that have already matured. And the opportunity right now in quantum is that quantum has not matured yet. Quantum science is not a science that has already matured. Of course, there are some part of it that are showing signs of maturity, like quantum sensing, but there are many things that we still need to do or we still need to understand, right? And that's where the opportunity is for us, young Africans. If we are able to take this as something that we also have to contribute to, in 5 years, in 10 years, when they'll start talking about quantum, just like they are talking about AI today, they'll be mentioning companies from Africa who are driving this field forward. Just like we are mentioning OpenAI, for example, or I don't know, DeepSeek from China. Those companies who are in those countries, we see as developed countries. If you're able to invest in quantum today, invest in talent, invest in work opportunities or research, invest in companies that young talents will develop. In 10 years, I think when we will be talking about innovation in the whole world, you'll be calling Africa's name everywhere. Those are my hopes for this field.
Thank you very much, Prince. Thank you very much, Augustina. I'm really happy. We are so grateful for sharing your work with us, telling us about your journey and giving us insights on what it takes to actually get into the position that you guys find yourselves in today. So to the viewers, if you guys have any question for Prince or for Augustina, the floor is open now for 3 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, then let me check the chat. Okay, Abby had a question, but I think Prince, you already addressed it.
Yes, but I can still add some few things to that question.
Yes.
I think Abby was asking if we are able to collaborate with any infectious disease experts. I'll say the hackathon was just 3 days, and we had to choose our own topic, and work in it. So there was no experts around in the specific field that uh, we were targeting. The only aspect that we had was one of the judges who was a quantum chemist. So he was the one who was asking us the hard questions. Then we had to go back and learn more about what is this, what is that, to actually understand more what we were working on. And also we had a chance to have a biochemical engineer among. He also helped us a lot in the understanding how diseases work and everything. Even how the drugs work to disintegrate protein, the parasite and all those things. He was a huge help to us. So right now that the 3-day hackathon has ended, our hopes are to work on this further, right? We don't want to stop at the hackathon. We want to push the work further to actually do something that is concrete, something that we can, why not transform into a company?
Wow, okay. I really love that. That's very ambitious, and yes, that would actually help, especially for Africa as a continent. Yes. You have my money. Okay, so there's another question, that is, do I need a maths background to apply for a master's at AIMS Ghana? So who wants to answer that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I think AIMS Ghana selects from STEM fields, right? So not necessarily you doing a bachelor of mathematics, a bachelor of science in mathematics alone. If you are doing engineering, if you are doing statistics or something, I think you can apply for it. And all the STEM courses, you would learn linear algebra. So if you have linear algebra in your transcript and you did very well, I think you can apply, because linear algebra, if you have linear algebra basics, a strong linear algebra basics, that is okay, honestly. That is okay. And it's from a STEM field. That is fine. Yes.
Okay, Francis is asking, what are the requirements for application at AIMS Ghana? Is there, can you talk about this, or maybe you can direct them to somewhere they can actually get this?
So I think, I don't know if they change the requirements every year, but then maybe they can visit the sites, AIMS Ghana website or any Center websites, then check their requirements. I think it would be there.
I
Yeah.
think so. Maybe this might be our last question. What skills should African students focus on if they want to enter quantum science or quantum technology? So,
Yeah, before we answer that question, I'll just tell Adu Francis that right now, the applications are open for the AIMS Masters. You have the regular Masters that you can apply for, the co-op, which is, I think, 16 months or 18 months, if I'm not mistaken. Then you also have the AI for science masters that you can apply for. That one is in South Africa. So if you're interested in AI, you apply for the South Africa one. If not, you can apply for the regular masters. You can go to aims.edu.th. That's AIMS Ghana website. Of course, there are other AIMS websites, but if you go to AIMS Ghana's website, you can see you definitely have a link that will take you to those opportunities that I've spoken about. Yeah. Now to Christina's question, what skills should African students focus on if they want to enter quantum science or technology? Maths, physics, those are the main things, math and physics. So when we say it that way, don't run away, because like math is too much, right? Math is a lot. Usually, what they will teach you, what the requirement will be linear algebra. Augustina spoke at it. So those things that you are going to learn at AIMS definitely will be enough for you. Linear algebra, if you are able to understand linear algebra, you are good to go. The next thing will be quantum mechanics. That's kind of the basic of that whole field. You need to understand exactly where this whole thing is from, and what are we trying to study? What are the experiments that defines the field? Those are the basic things that you need to understand. So linear algebra first, then quantum mechanics. And I feel like the rest you learn the skill that you need in the specific fields or specialist you are trying to focus on. If you want to do quantum information, you definitely would need more number theory and more skills. If you want to do computing, You need some coding at some point, but the basics will be linear algebra and quantum mechanics.
Okay, okay, amazing. Prince, thank you once again. Augustina, thank you so much for having time to speak to us and tell us a little bit more about yourselves and what you do. At Early Smile Foundation, we believe the future of Africa's innovation ecosystem depends on what young people are exposed to today. So conversations like this are not just educational, they are like catalysts to actually help young people to strive for things. So to Team Qualaria, thank you. And thank you for being a proof of Africans' excellence. And to everyone here, I want you to carry this conversation forward. Tell someone about quantum science, and let's carry out this spirit of young people wanting more and wanting the best for not just ourselves, but the African continent. So thank you very much, everyone. And I will see you all around someday. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.